What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Bengalstripe show presented by the Love of Ball Network and brought to you by your hosts, Gavin and Braden. Braden's right over there for me. Welcome back. Good episode one, pretty decent episode one. We want to keep going with it, so that's a good thing. What'd you think of episode one? What'd you think of our first shoot?
It was definitely a first episode, for
Yeah.
sure. But it'll come.
Yeah, make sure you guys go subscribe to the YouTube, follow the Spotify, everything in the description. Go to my other podcast, For the Lob, and potentially another show will be joining the Love of Ball Network. Stay tuned for that. It won't be run by me, but it'll be run by someone close to me, and I think it'll be pretty entertaining for you guys if that does end up happening. So let's talk about. I mean, they read the title. Let's get right into our top 10 Bengals for the next 5 years. This idea is presented by Locked On Bengals podcast by the Locked On Network. Go follow them. Great show. They're not daily right now, but usually during the season they are daily, Monday through Friday. I want to say, yeah,
Sounds about right.
yeah. So pretty good, very insightful guys. They know what they're talking about. Um, and this is we have permission from them to kind of completely steal their idea because it was such a good idea, and it's also the dead of the off season, so there's not much to talk about. So let's you want to get right into it?
Let's go
Next
right
5 years.
into it.
All right, who is your number one? I wonder if we have the same guy.
I would hope so. So my first guy is Joseph Burrow.
Yeah.
I think it's a consensus number one, paying him $55 million a year.
Yeah, he's making NBA money as I like to call it because that's about the supermax in the NBA for everyone else, and Joe Burrow's making it, and rightfully so. He is by far the most important player on this team, and without Joe Burrow, we are barely above 500, and that was shown. Granted, we did get to 500 because we have a good team around him. However, he is the elevator, MVP candidate every year he's healthy, and I think he'll continue to be that. And we're still waiting, which is weird. We have these guys: Jamar Chase, top five in his position; Joe Burrow, top, in my opinion, top three, but some people say he's top five in his position, and they've yet to have that really breakout year. Jamar Chase has yet to have a season over 1,500 yards for him to be a top five receiver. Joe Burrow has yet to have a season to where he's really in that MVP conversation. But he is there, and we all know he's there, and he's going to continue to be there.
Yeah, I would agree. I think Joe Burrow, and personally, I think he's the top two quarterback. I think you have C.J. Stroud, who's kind of coming on that journey, just like Joe Burrow did. Came to like a 2-15 team or whatever the Texans were last or 2 years ago, and then he flipped them around. And I think it's like the same. I think it's the same kind of thing that's going on with a lot of these teams. They're getting a good quarterback, and I think your quarterback runs the show.
Yeah. And similar to what the Bengals did, what the Texans did, once they realized C.J. Stroud was special, the next year they surrounded him with talent. We had the 2020 Bengals. Joe Burrow unfortunately gets injured. What, 5-6 games in?
It was 10.
Oh, he played that much? It did not seem like that much.
I swear. Hold on, let's look this up because actually that was COVID year, so there was no
Yeah,
fans in the stands.
I swear he did not play a ton of games.
Let's see, Joe Burrow, 2020. Nope, that's 2024. 2020. See, he played. Huh. God, why is my computer so slow? So he played. How does this say 11 weeks? This does not make any sense. This is 2024. I just want 2020. This is embarrassing.
We
2020.
did
Here we go. He played 10 games.
10 games. It seems like a lot less than that with that whole year. I mean, I swear I thought I was highballing with six, and I watched every game. But with that being said, whoa, wait, what was I talking about before this? I just completely forgot. I
How
just
similar the Texans
right,
did with the
yeah, right.
Bengals.
Yeah, yeah. So we had that year. We saw Joe Burrow flash this superstardom, which he eventually blossomed into. The year after that, we spend a top five pick on weapons around him. We get Jamar Chase. We bring in these guys that help us be a contender now and take advantage of that rookie contract. Obviously, we got to the Super Bowl. We got to the AFC Championship before that money kicked in. His money kicks in this year, right? Or did it kick in
Next
last
year.
year?
Next year. He's fifth
Next
year
year.
option this year.
Yeah. So we surround him with talent with these guys while we can before it really hits the salary cap, and that's exactly what the Texans are doing with this. Um, and I think that's a smart thing to do. I don't think that's necessarily you don't see it often because you don't find these guys super often that come out of the gates swinging as much as these quarterbacks do.
Absolutely not. I think the Texans did it perfectly. I think they went out and got a guy like Stephon Diggs. They have Tank Dell. They have Nico Collins, so they got a pretty good receiving core, kind of like the Bengals did. They got all the tools, but I think that's prevailing the quarterbacks for sure in the NFL. But I think it's going to show that Joe Burrow's the top if you can get a guy like C.J. Stroud, good offensive line, good receivers, very good running back, and Joe Mixon and the Bengals will still come out on top. I think that's going to be a testament to how good Joe Burrow makes this Bengals team.
Absolutely, and he, as much as we have a good system here in Cincinnati that allowed Jake Browning to shine, he is the system. Joe Burrow elevates this team to a level that no one else can in the league unless your name is Patrick Mahomes. I think if Josh Allen and Joe Burrow switched place, it wouldn't be the same team. Not even close. Jalen Hurts, same story. I think that this team is designed for him, and I think that the reason we kept Jake Browning is because Jake Browning is a Walmart version of Joe Burrow. Very similar play styles to where they like to air it out. They're you want to say they're precise with their passes. Obviously, Jake Browning not at the level of Joe Burrow, but very similar play styles, which is why Jake Browning did shine, but not to the degree that Joe Burrow did.
Yeah, I would kind of agree with that, but I also would like to say that Jake Browning kind of does some things that Joe Burrow didn't do so great, and I think that probably was a part of the calf last year.
Yeah.
With the Jake Browning offense, we kind of had Drew Sample in the backfield a lot, trying to block, and Jake was actually under center a lot more than Joe was, and I'm sure that was a testament to the calf. Uh, but when I think about Joe Burrow, I think about that play action pass, that deep pass in the middle of the field to the tight end. And I saw that Jake Browning would have a lot of those intermediate passes, but he was never really throwing it over you. If that makes sense.
Yeah, he didn't have that same connection with the receivers that Joe has to really trust them to go up there and get it. And except if he's T Higgins, it seemed like I sort of got every game he'd just chuck a Hail Mary to T Higgins once a game.
Yeah, he
When
was
he
definitely like, screw it. T. Higgins is down there somewhere.
Yeah, for sure. So Joe Burrow's number one. If you don't have Joe Burrow number one, I'd really love to hear your argument. Who's number two?
I think you gotta. I think there's a consensus number two as well. It's Jamar Chase.
Yeah. Number one weapon for Joe Burrow, top five wide receiver in the NFL. He's going to get paid next year. Hopefully, if all things go well. Hopefully, we don't have a Jesse Bates, T. Higgins situation again. But yeah, I mean, he's a perfect fit for Joe Burrow. What do you see when you see the duo that they are?
I think it shows that they played in college together, and then that they're also playing in the NFL together. There's two guys who are on the same page all the time. When you look at their highlights together, it's always those back shoulder passes.
Yeah.
Jamar Chase loses the deep, or the DB loses Jamar Chase, I should say, and it's just a pass right to him.
Yeah, it's perfect place. He knows where to put it, and he also knows where T likes it. T likes it higher up. He likes going up for those jump balls. He doesn't necessarily like it out to his left or out to his right. He likes it right in the middle to where he can go up and really get that play done.
Yeah, I would agree. I noticed a lot on those slants with Tyler Boyd and Jamar Chase. He's kind of putting it here, but with T Higgins, he's almost putting it at helmet level.
That he just likes making those plays like that, and I think when when he holds onto the ball, he's some of the strongest hands in the league because I feel like his arms, he's not catching with his chest. Oftentimes, he's reaching out and grabbing it with just his arms, and I'm sure NFL coaches aren't necessarily fond of that, but that's just how he plays.
Yeah, I think he's just so tall. I think he's just so tall that he knows that if Joe puts it anywhere above his shoulders, that he's going to be the bigger one. He's going to be able to go up there and be able to aggressively get to the ball.
Yeah, and I think it's smart. So coming in at three, so we had Joe at one, Jamar at two consensusly. Three is where I think it gets a little different. Because do you want to go first three or do you want my three first?
Let's hear your three. I haven't seen it.
So my three is Cam Taylor-Britt. I know, sue me. Cam Taylor-Britt showed flashes last year of being a top 10 corner. He was consistently gluing to his receivers, getting those interceptions, really being that missing piece that we needed on defense. Unfortunately, he did get injured and missed, God, I want to say 6 games. He didn't six.
Yeah, with that hamstring.
Yeah, and during those flashes, he really showed being a top 10 corner. He was locking down. He locked down. I remember specifically he locked down Brandon Ayuk when we played the 49ers. And I think Brandon Ayuk had a horrible game that game, and it was because Cam Taylor-Britt was the main target. And I think having that elite corner with you is such an important part of a team and a dynasty. I mean, with the Patriots, for a time they had Stephon Gilmore. The Chiefs had a rotation of guys, but they had L'Jarius Sneed, Trent McDuffie, that really blossomed into that shutdown corner. And I think Cam Taylor Britt will and is that.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd put him at three, but I could see that. I think he's our cornerback for the future, cornerback one for the future for sure. I think a lot of these big media team, not big media teams, but big media organizations view him as uh, a CB2 around the league for most teams, but I don't think so. I think he's got one of the softest, best hands in the league. I mean, we saw that interception against the Seahawks. I mean, he full on went out and dived and got that ball.
Yeah.
So I can definitely see that in the next few years. I'm just gonna have to see a little bit more out of him before I put him at three for the future. But I can definitely buy somebody putting him at three.
Yeah,
Mine is oh, you can
I'm
go.
just gonna say how I did my list real quick. With my list, I did a lot of their impact and positional value. So I think having that elite corner to me is a lot more important than having some other guys I have on this list.
Yeah, so my number three is gonna ruffle some feathers because he hasn't played a down of the NFL in his life. It's Amarius Mims.
Yeah.
I think like we said, we got to keep nine healthy. If nine's not healthy, we're not going anywhere. So I think Amarius Mims. So I did it based on year by year. So for this year, I have him at a six. So he's going to play some games when Trent Brown's not there because historically he's not going to
Mhm.
be playing all 17 games, which I hope he is, but he's not probably not going to. Um, and I think it only goes up from there. So I'm at a 7 in 2024, an 8 in 2025, and then a 10 the rest of the way. Because he's gotta make sure Joe Burrow uh, stays upright. I mean, if you think about that Jonah Williams pick and that Billy Price pick,
Yeah.
it
Two first
it
rounders back to back.
it definitely makes you like tense up a little bit thinking about it.
Yeah. So do you want to lead off into your four?
My four. Here it is. Logan Wilson.
Wow. Okay.
I think he plays a huge role here. And so this is how I did my list. I did it based on guys who are gonna make the biggest impact no matter what positions they play.
Okay.
So I took out positional value no matter what. Logan Wilson's gonna fill that void of covering big tight ends, slower tight ends for sure. Uh
Mark Andrews of the world.
Yeah, the Mark Andrews of the world, of course. Uh, and he's gonna help us really because this league is really turning into let your big tight end because of Travis Kelsey, let your big tight ends get the ball and just let them mean green all over the earth. Um, so I put Logan Wilson up there. I think he's huge. I think he's under contract till 2028. So he's gonna play a huge role for the next 5 years to make sure that the Cincinnati Bengals don't give up huge yards or even let the running back have to get to the safeties for tackling.
Yeah. He's definitely a vital piece. I'm I'm gonna spoil it right now. I don't have Logan Wilson in my top 10. He
Really?
barely missed it. He's 11. He's 11 for me. But yeah. So my number three, this is where I do have Orlando Brown Jr. Similarly to what you said to Mims, I just think he's more established already, four-time Pro Bowler. And I think he's just going to continue to help teach Amarius Mims. And I think that he is he's our left tackle, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so he's blocking Joe Burrow's blind side, which is one of the most important. It's obviously he's a tackle, but definitely the blind side is one of the more important for especially Joe Burrow because a lot of his injuries are freak accidents. It's not like he's repeatedly getting his wrist hit or repeatedly getting his knee hit when he tore his ACL. It's these freak hits that he's not necessarily prepared for, and once he feels it, he tense up, and that's when injuries happen. Those surprise hits are the dangerous ones, which is why Orlando Brown Jr. is extremely important. And like I said, already established, already a top 15, top 12 tackle in the league. And he's consistent. He's a locker room guy, very important to the morale, and I think with that gives him a boost over my number four, which I'll go into, which is Amarius Mims. Other tackle, I don't know why. I think it's going to be different this year with his Mims pick. I think it's going to be different than the Billy Prices of the world, the Jonah Williams of the world. I'm thinking second round of the
Jackson
2021 draft.
Carman.
Yes, the all of those offensive line which had high upside ended up busting. Pause. Um, but but I don't know. I think the Chiefs wanting to trade up for him really gives me hope. They have very good reputation of drafting offensive linemen. They have a testament to that now with one of the best O lines in the league, all homegrown. Um, except I want to say one of them they just signed this year. But
Juwan Taylor.
yeah, but it's I just have a feeling that he's going to be great. Right tackles are one of the most premium positions in football, that really go unnoticed. The top of the top really stay the top, and it's hard to get well, out of the top five. It really drops in terms of right tackles. And I think if we have a franchise right tackle, it's just so important, especially to keep Joe Burrow healthy.
Yeah, so we flip flopped. So I have Orlando Brown Jr. as my fifth because I think he's really important. But then again, he's only under contract for a few more years.
Yeah.
So we did it differently. So you have big positional value right there. So you have left tackle, and that's extremely important. And that's why he can be so high on so many people's list. But for me, he's only under contract for so many years. So who's going to come up and replace him? So I have him at a 10, a 10, a 10, and a 10. But then he drops all the way to a 6 for me because will the Bengals resign him? Who knows? Right. So for the years coming up, I would say he's one of the most important. He'd probably be top 3 for me if his contract was going for a little longer. Just because Amarius is going to be here for a little bit longer, he's more important.
Yeah, and one thing I will say is that I believe the Bengals Super Bowl window is going to be open for the next 5 years. As long as we have Joe Burrow, the Super Bowl window is open. But I think our window is so wide open this year and next year. So those guys that'll make an impact in the next 2 years for me are going to be higher up on this list. You're going to see that in some of the later picks. That the guys that'll be here for the short term are going to be more valuable in my eyes because with them on the team, it gives us the best chance to win the Super Bowl. And I think these next 2 years are going to be our best chances. Obviously, we're still going to have good chances for the next 5, but I believe to really get it done, these guys are really the important people.
Yeah. Yeah. So my number 6 is kind of a little crazy here.
Wait, I don't think I did my 5 yet.
Who's your 5? Who's your 5?
Wait, did I? My 5 is Mims, so I think I did.
Yeah, because we flip flopped. So you
Yeah,
had
yeah, yeah.
Orlando
You're right.
higher. Yep. Or actually, you had Mims one.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah,
got you.
you know what I mean. So I have Miles Murphy.
Yeah,
So Trey Hendrickson already requested a trade. He's got 2 more years left on his contract. Will he resign? I think he's one of those guys that walks. I feel it. I feel it. Uh,
yeah,
so we need somebody to fill those big, big, big shoes that Trey Hendrickson is going to leave, and it's not going to be easy for sure. But when we invested a first round pick in him, as well as letting him sit behind Trey and Sam for a few years, this guy should come out and he should excel.
yeah. And absolutely, we drafted him to be a project. Extremely raw coming out of college, but one of the best raw athletes I've seen in a while in a prospect. And I think he's shown flashes of being really good.
Yeah, he beat Christian Darrisaw in that Vikings game, and he just looked like an elite pass rusher just on that play. So he's showing those flashes. He's just got to do it a little bit more consistently, and I think the Bengals are going to try and do a little bit more rotation this year to keep everyone fresh throughout the season. So we'll see a little bit more of him.
Yeah, for sure. Um, my 6 here is his counterpart, Trey Hendrickson. So, like I said, with Trey only being here for the next 2 years, I think that trade request was purely agent talk. I don't think Trey actually wants to leave Cincinnati. He's been vocal about how much he likes it here. I think that the reason they requested a trade was because the T. Higgins situation wasn't being handled, the Jamar Chase situation wasn't being handled, and Trey's agent could join in and really make it seem like there's a downfall and could possibly make the Bengals panic and really either trade him for more money or extend him, but he was already extended. So I really didn't get to see the point. But Yeah, I don't think that that trade request was real. Like a real I want out of here, really badly. I think it was just the situation. But even so, he is a top five, top 10 edge
I would say
rusher.
he's top five.
Yeah, for sure. And I think his impact on these next couple years, even though he is here, is going to be felt. It is in my opinion, edge rusher is the third most important position on a team, maybe fourth. And I think having an elite one of them, I mean, it comes with what am I trying to say here? The best defenders are edge rushers. Top five candidates for defensive player of the year: T.J. Watt, Micah Parsons, Miles Garrett, Nick Bosa. What do you notice? They're all edge rushers, and they do it at an elite level, and they're game wreckers. These are the top defenses led by a top edge rusher. I
Yeah,
think
I
the
would
impact
agree.
I
I would
think the
agree.
impact he's going to have in our really wide open Super Bowl window is going to be elite, which is why I have him here at six.
Yeah, I think Trey Hendrickson is a big deal. I am not gonna spoil my list. He is on my list.
Yeah.
But for one thing, I do. I think he makes the whole thing go. I think a lot of those interceptions that are thrown by other quarterbacks is just because he's right there in their face. But
Hmm.
so who I have for my number um 7 is your guy, CTB. Now, here's where I went with CTB. He's great. He's gonna be great. He has a great personality for this secondary. I remember one of the first things he said last year after our season was open. He said, "We're gonna take a little break, then we're gonna get all the secondary guys down somewhere, and we're all gonna train together." That's the kind of guy that I want. When you're a second, third year player and you're saying that, that shows levels. I mean, that shows absolute levels to your commitment to the team and to the game. Where I fell off with him at is I don't know if he'll resign. I think he'll want a bag. I just don't think the Bengals will give it.
Yeah.
I think they found their sweet spot, and maybe I'm wrong. This is gonna be clip worthy in 4 years. Watch as he's gonna get a big deal. Um, so I just think that the Bengals have found their sweet spot, getting guys who are in their second contract, who want to prove their career, and it didn't work out with Nick Scott, but it's worked out with pretty much everybody else.
Yeah. It feels like we're the rejuvenation place where we can get value out of these guys.
Yeah, I think we got that out of Von Bell. We got that out of Eli Apple. We got that out of a few.
Oh, I remember when I was arguing with this dude on TikTok. He said that our defense is much worse because we don't have Eli Apple, which granted, yes, Eli Apple was fine. He turned into prime Richard Sherman in our Super Bowl run, and then in the Super Bowl he turned into prime. He turned into nobody. It's like he wasn't even there. So it really left a sour taste in my mouth for how good he played during that Super Bowl run. But yeah, he's impactful. But it's just yeah. He came from where did he come? He came from New York, didn't he?
Yeah, no, he went from New York to No, I guess he did. Was on his like second, third contract. But I think I know he may have gotten traded, and then came to Cincinnati.
Yeah,
And then Vaughn came from New
New
Orleans.
Orleans,
Trey came from New
New
Orleans.
Orleans. We just
Yeah,
like taking guys from New Orleans and Houston. It seems like
I
because
guess so.
that's where DJ Reader, Sheldon Rankins came from.
Guess we just have a type. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, we want the South guys. But no, my seven is where I have Miles Murphy penciled in. Unbelievable talent, unbelievable potential. He just needs to kind of put it all together. And once he does, I mean, if he can put it together this year, which this last year was his rookie. No, yeah, last year was his rookie year. If he can hit that sophomore jump and take over Sam Hubbard for majority starter, I mean, imagine Trey and Miles on either side. Why have one good edge rusher when you can have two? And I think he's going to be elite at that and eventually take Trey's spot once Trey ultimately doesn't resign because I don't think he's going to resign.
Yeah, uh, basically, I would agree. So Chase Brown is my 8, and
Okay.
here's why. So he's going to kind of play that Giovanni Bernard role. I think once Zach Moss's contract is over, I
Hmm.
think he's going to be that super speedy guy who's going to get us. large gains. He's going to be super explosive for us. Kind of what we're hoping Zach Moss is going to be. Maybe he's not going to have the pass blocking potential uh, like Zach Moss is, but he's definitely going to have that breakout speed. I mean, what, he ran 22 miles an hour last year? I mean, that's
Yeah,
insane. Um,
highest in the league, by the way.
yeah. So I mean, when you have a guy like that, I think he's going to play a huge role for this Cincinnati Bengals team.
Yeah, my number 8 here is this where I have Chris Jenkins, which is gonna shock some people. I really like Chris Jenkins coming out of college. On when I did a big board for my other show. This episode never aired because we had a mic problem, which really upsets me. It was a really good episode for the lob in the description. But it was ranking the top 10 prospects in each position in the draft. Chris Jenkins was my D tackle 3. Behind, I had him behind obviously why am I Byron Murphy the second from Texas and Johnny Newton from Illinois, and then I had Chris Jenkins and Johnny Newton and Chris Jenkins. I kind of flip flop for a while because they're exact opposite D tackles. Johnny Newton is a run stuffer, big guy, just put in there, plug the holes up, and Chris Jenkins is kind of the same, but he's more of a finesse guy to where he'll beat his defender and get back there. And some of the similarities I saw between him and give me a DJ Reader, Christian Wilkins, is that they're extremely dominant once they get in their technique. And but the thing is he takes a little bit to get into his technique. And I think that's very, very easy to learn, especially from someone who's experienced as Sheldon Rankins, someone who's experienced as BJ Hill. And I think if he can unlock that, he can easily be a top 10, top 5 D tackle in a division to where we probably have the most elite group of running backs in our division when it's all said and done. And I think that's going to be so important as the Bengals specifically to counter those running backs that he's here for me.
Yeah, I would agree. I think Chris Jenkins is going to be a huge part. Um, the where I went with him is that he's not going to play a whole lot these next, I guess, year and a
Yep.
half. I think once BJ leaves, I think his role is going to step up a little bit. But just for this really wide open Super Bowl window, like you said, is he's not going to be playing a huge role. So here at my 9 spot is where I have Trey Hendrickson.
Okay. That's fair.
He's going to be huge. He's going to be huge for these next 2 years. But after that, I doubt he resigns. He's going to be 32.
I don't think
Uh,
we'll even offer anything.
Yeah, we won't offer anything. He's going to be 32 years old. Uh, and maybe if he puts up another 18 sack season, 15 sack season, then maybe we'll offer him something. But he's going to be 32. And that kind of doesn't fit what the Bengals want. So I put him at 9 because he is really important for this Bengals team because he's going to create a lot of havoc on the edge, but he's just not going to do it for very long.
Yeah, and what you said earlier, this has to go with Chris Jenkins. I think he's gonna play a lot more than you think this year. I think he's going to have a role in that defense. We've talked about the groups by committee. I think that D tackle group, especially with how much we play these elite running backs, especially this year. I mean, we play the Eagles, we play Saquon, Derrick Henry twice, Nick Chubb twice. We play in the Patriots' eyes, this guy's elite. We play Ramondre Stevenson, who plays super hard. But all of these guys, a lot of the guys on our schedule will have these kind of tough running backs, and I think Lou's going to prioritize keeping those legs fresh. And I think we're gonna have a lot more substitution than we usually do. I think Dax Hill and DJ Turner are gonna get subbed in and out a lot. I think we're just gonna have this revolving door of these positional groups. I could honestly see, and this may sound stupid, and I don't know if it's what's gonna happen. I could see Mims and um, Trent Brown both playing in a game. If Trent Brown comes, hey, timeout. Hey, I don't know if I got my last rep in. I don't know if I can do it. Mims come in for 3 plays. Let Trent Brown catch his breath. I could totally see that happening. I could see the running backs doing that. I could just keeping these guys fresh and healthy after the season we just had is going to be the utmost importance, and I could definitely see these guys playing a lot more.
Yeah, it definitely felt like we got hit by the injury bug this year, and I think Zach Taylor's still in that maturing phase as well, and I think he's kind of getting to that stage where he's like, hold on, we have the depth now that if somebody needs to go in, that we can really harness the the next guy up mentality. Because I promise you, last year, if, with when Orlando was dealing with that groin injury, that we were not going to let Jackson Carman go in and try and block somebody on the blind side.
Yeah. But anyway, I just wanted to get that out that I do think these guys are going to play a lot more than we think. I could see who was our like 6th round pick from Mississippi? I completely am blanking on his name.
Cedric Johnson.
Yes, I could see him getting some reps in the secondary when we're playing a team like
Oh, DeJohn Anthony, that's what you mean. The
yes,
guy.
that's what I'm talking. The safety. Um,
Yes.
I could see him getting some reps when we play these nickel and dime where we have 6 DBs out there, and I definitely could see a lot of these rookies getting an impact. And I think that's why we drafted these certain guys. We drafted these older guys with experience that we could plug and play whenever we need them.
Yeah, so a guy that going off of that, I think a guy that I'm really excited to see about is McKinley Jackson.
Yeah,
He's a big dude. I mean, he's not like crazy tall, but man, he's big.
yeah.
He's gonna fill that hole for sure.
I'm
He's
I'm
gonna be
I'm
that
ex-
Johnny Noon.
I'm excited. I think he's gonna get a lot of burn. Not as much as Chris Jenkins, but I definitely think he'll see the field every game.
Yeah, I do too. I think on those big jumbo run packages that someone's gonna run somewhere along the lines, they're gonna throw him up there and say, "Plug it, plug the hole." Pause.
Yeah.
Um,
Pause.
Jermaine Burton is my number 10.
Oh, I need to do my number 9.
Oh, you need to, oh my gosh, I just spoiled my number 10.
No, you're good because speaking of Jermaine Burton, he's at my number 9.
Really?
He's the T. Higgins replacement. Unfortunately, as it is, I actually was debating whether or not to put him or T. Higgins on here. Reason because T. Higgins is going. We don't win the Super Bowl this year if we don't have T. Higgins. If we do end up winning it, I promise you that. And I think we're gonna. I think Jermaine Burton needs that development year this year. But ultimately, once T. Higgins leaves for $30 million a year to the New England Patriots, I think we're gonna see the impact that Jermaine has. I mean, he's got insane hands. He's got a great vertical, great speed. He's still working on the route running, but once he gets in stride, it's hard to knock the ball out of his hands. And I think he's going to be that constant number 2 that Joe wants. And I think he's going to grow into that number 2 that doesn't necessarily demand the ball like T. Higgins did. I think he's going to be perfectly fine being a decoy on some routes or just being there. And I think that's an important guy to have.
I would agree. So that's kind of why I picked Jermaine Burton is because I feel like we talked about in our last episode that like he does sometimes force the ball to T Higgins because
Mm-hmm.
he does feel like T. Oh my gosh, I need to get T the ball. I haven't really targeted him all game. Um, so that's why I kind of put him in there because I feel like Jermaine's going to play that no ego role, where we can get him the ball, but he's also going to be really really good.
Yeah.
So when everybody talks about this, every time somebody talks about Jermaine Burton, they say that when the ball's in the air, it's his. And I love that because we need that. We need another guy like Jamar Chase.
Yeah. And I think having that dynamic is definitely important. All right. Do you want to go into your number 10 or do you just want to kind of skip over because we kind of just talked about it?
We can skip over it. You got it.
All right, my number 10 here. Sorry, I lost my notes page. This is where I had Jordan Battle. Over Dax Hill, over a guy like Dax Hill. I love Dax Hill. I think he's going to be great in whatever position he plays, whether it's corner, safety, fucking sub linebacker. I don't care. I think Jordan Battle has a higher ceiling. I think Jordan Battle, if he can hit that stride to where he can kind of follow in, let's say, Derwin James' footsteps, I think that can be his ceiling. A guy that you're kind of scared to throw to your wide receiver because he'll come and fucking hit him. I think that Jordan has the IQ. I think he's an extremely smart player, and you need that at your strong safety position because you don't want guys just throwing their body to anyone. But yeah, I think his ceiling's a lot higher. He was first team all rookie safeties this year. Um, and I think that's important to a morale, knowing that he was the best out there at his position amongst his peers. And I think he's going to keep developing and growing under Gino and Von Bell.
Yeah, so Jordan Battle was my 11. And the only reason he was not my 10, and I really debated this for a good 30 minutes, was because he's not going to play this year that much with Vaughn coming back.
Ah.
I mean, I'll say he'll play. He'll play for sure. Uh, but will he be out there almost every snap like he was last season? Probably not. And maybe next year he plays a bigger role, and that's where I have him as a 10 for the next couple years. But then again, he's on his rookie contract, and who knows if he's like, well, you guys brought that one veteran over me, and then he goes and signs somewhere else. So Yeah.
Yeah, it's a gamble. Who was kind of tough to leave off your list? Who was tough to leave off?
So a guy that was definitely tough to leave off my list was for 1,000% sure was Jermaine Pratt.
Yeah,
I think he's been a staple here. I mean, 4 years. 4 years he's been a staple here. And I just see his time in Cincinnati running out. He turned 29, um, or 30, 29 or 30. These maybe when OTAs were around, maybe April-ish.
yeah.
And so I think the Bengals will try and go a little bit younger there in the next couple drafts, and I think that's something that we should keep our eyes on.
Yeah, he's definitely a vocal leader, especially on the field as well. Guys I had tough leaving off was just our entire running back group. I love Chase Brown, I love Zach Moss, but I don't know how permanent they are as that staple running back. I think no matter what, I think next year if we get in position, we're going to draft a running back. Try and draft. I really want us to take Ollie Gordon if we can. Um, but I think we're going to end up getting a guy that's really that clear cut RB1 because I think we operate best when we have that main guy and that secondary that can complement him. Joe Mixon plus Chase Brown, if it was this year, would be 10 times better than it was last year because Chase Brown was still developing. But I don't think Zach Moss is long term unless he really balls out and we pay him a bag. And I think Chase Brown is long term, but I don't think he could keep it up as the elite RB1.
Yeah, so another guy that was kind of hard for me was Andre Yoshivas. And I was kind of sitting here looking at my notes. Was Andre Yoshivas, is I kind of had his name in there, then I scribbled it out, and then I rewrote it, then I scribbled it out. Um, Apparently he's made some pretty good improvements, and he looks strong, strong as an
Yeah,
ox.
he
I
looks
mean,
jacked.
yeah, I mean, if you go to our TikTok, which is the Bengal stripe, please check that out.
Is yep.
Um, he looks big. He looks big in that TikTok.
Let me see if I have a picture. Hold on. Continue.
And apparently he's made the right steps, and I think he's going to step into that wide receiver 3 role here eventually. Yeah, that's a big guy for sure.
He looks massive.
So I think he's going to step into that wide receiver 3 role, maybe next season. So you know,
Well, we'll see. I'm definitely excited for the season to start, man, or just something to start. Um,
yeah.
we'll be at a lot of the training camps. You guys can look out for us. We'll definitely make that trip, try and get content, try and do all that. You got anything else?
Yeah, please come find us at training camp. If you see us, please come up to us. I mean, we won't shy away for sure. I mean, we're definitely not going to be like no, no. We're definitely going to want to
No,
talk to you
no
guys.
fans, no fans.
And so, and maybe you'll end up in a TikTok or an Instagram reel. So if maybe you come and talk to us, we're going to be doing a lot of fan interactions at the training camp. So you never know.
Yeah. Is that anything else for you?
I got it. That's it.
All right, everyone, go to the description on YouTube. Go to Spotify, rate us 5 stars, follow. You know the drill. Spotify, go to YouTube, subscribe, like, comment, share it with your family. I don't know, whatever you want to do. And then go follow the TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. What else do we have? Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. I think that's it.
I think that's it. That's all we got right now.
The link
Facebook.
tree's in the Instagram. Yeah, Facebook. I need to add that to the link tree actually. Everything's in the link tree, so helps us out a ton. And yeah, we'll see everyone next time. See you later.
See ya.